Okay, hello everyone.
Hello. Thank you.
So we have a very exciting topic. Um, Getting old. It is exciting because we'll see. You'll tell me if you think it's exciting. There's a lot to talk about. I don't know how much we'll get through,
Mm.
but there is a lot to talk about. The gift of years. So first of all, thank you, Sobins, again for hosting. There was a request to view the food that you are missing out. So we'll show you the beautiful
Jamie
cupcakes
Mhm.
and the cookies and the chocolate and the fruit.
Fruit.
Thank you.
Oh,
We hope you join us in person next time. Oh wow! Yeah, there was. Sure, Hanukkah.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for coming.
Hello, Magders. So now we could start. The Magders are here.
Maybe shows get the beer. I wouldn't know. So hopefully, some fruit.
Okay, we can pass these down. How are you? Thank you all for coming. It's so nice. I thought I announced there was going to be a Chavrusa show. I didn't know anyone was going to come, but it's okay. Chavrusas are great too. But it's always great to learn together. You have it? Okay. So we call this the gift of years. Um, and we do view years as a gift. And we'll hopefully at the beginning we'll get through a few reasons why we view our years or the aging process as a gift. There's actually reason for that, rooted in Chazal. And we will talk about the mitzvah of honoring elders in general. We all have that obligation. What is an elder? Who is considered an elder? And then hopefully we will talk about the specific mitzvah of providing for and taking care of one's elderly parents. So there is a lot to talk about, and we'll see how much we get through. Please feel free to ask any questions at any time if anything is unclear. And we will begin. So, you don't want to be great. So all we have shown so far is the food, and it already has 2 likes. Great. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so the term used for an elderly person is a kain or is a kaina. That's the Hebrew term. We'll see that may not be the term that the Torah always uses for that. We also have this idea of seva. We have seen the Mishnah in the past, the Mishnah for Avot, that shivim ben shivim le seva. When a person reaches 70, that is when he achieves seva. And we'll explain what this idea of seva is. But the first, or there's an interesting source that says the first time we find zikna in the Torah, this idea of someone becoming old, is by Abraham. Where the pasuk says that Abraham zakein ba bayamim. Abraham became old. He was ba bayamim. He was advanced in his years or his days. Hashem berachat Abraham bakol. Hashem had blessed Abraham with everything. So the Gemara picks up on this and says, this is a Gemara in Bava which says that until Abraham there was no zikna in the world. What does that mean? Were people dying young? So the Gemara says something very interesting. Man dahava Abraham, one who would want to talk to Abraham would confuse him and would end up going to speak to Yitzchak. But had Yitzchak, and if someone wanted to go speak to Yitzchak, they would go and speak to Abraham. So what did Abraham do? And we have other sayings in Chazal who say that Abraham and Yitzchak looked exactly alike. And that was Hashem's miracle, saying that no one would say that Yitzchak was born from Avimelech. So they looked exactly alike. So people, so much so that they were many years apart. Yitzchak, how old was Abraham? Was 90, right? Abraham was 90 years old when he was born, when Yitzchak was born. So, but they still looked so much alike. So it's an interesting thing. So what did Abraham do? Abraham, David, he asked for mercy. V'hava zakena, and that's how he became old. That's how he appeared old. Shne'emar Abraham zaken ba'yamim. That is what the pasuk is coming to teach us. That Abraham zaken is that he appeared to be zaken.
He asked for mercy. What does that mean?
So he, meaning people were confusing them. People were confusing them because they looked exactly alike. So Avram said, allow us to look a little different. So what happened? So Avram began to appear as if he was a little older. So there are some who ask that this isn't the first time we find the word zaken in the Torah. Right before that, Sarah says "Va'adoni zaken." So it's not the first time. So the Torah Tamima, this is source number 3. He explains that no, this is that you could have what the Gemara is referring to is zaken and babayamim. There are some people who they appear zaken, but they're not yet babayamim. They are not yet advanced in age. People that just have stressful lives, and that's what causes them to. That's what causes their hair to fall out, and that's what causes them to have gray hair. But Abraham was both. Abraham was both zaken and babayamim. He was the first one to have that. And the Maharsha is the one who clarifies the Gemara and says that no, that until then there was really no one there were no signs of aging at all. People became adults and just stayed that way. He says it's the libun se'ar, that hair becoming white, and all the other things that come along with aging. That was the gift that was given to Abraham after Abraham had asked for that, because people were confusing him and So actually, so the Malbim says, so it's a beautiful Malbim. There's a Malbim in Sefer Devarim. This is source number 5. So he writes, Hine Hashem hitbiya ba'adam yemei hazikna l'tovato. The reason Hashem gave zikna, not just years, but the aging process, meaning a body slowing down, slowly, hair is turning white, and again, everything that comes along with that, memory loss and whatever. We all know it's sad, but it's a fact of life. Sheyargish. So the reason. So what is the why is this a gift? So the Malbim says, Sheyargish shemitkarev el hamavet. This is so that people will realize that their death is slowly approaching. V'yachshov l'takanat nafsho. And so this is your time to think about doing tshuva, to think about how you can become better. Did I live my life to its fullest, and how can I become better as my life slowly comes to an end? V'ki karev kitzo, and as his end draws near, you pull the mishkav, he's going to fall. He's going to be bedridden. Leman shekrovav umiyudaav yavo l'vakro, so that your family and your loved ones come to visit you, v'yishtadlu l'tovato, and they're going to provide for you. Uksheyir'eh ahavatam, and when you see how much your loved ones provide for you and how much they love you, yitkarev l'vavo gam lahem, you in turn will love them back. V'im yesh beino levenam davar, and if there were any fights between you, if there was anything that you needed to work out, yitukan be'ela hayamim. That is the time to fix anything that may have gone wrong. So this is the gift. If it seemed that man would live forever, so people would never sit and think, my time is coming to an end. So God gives us this gift of zikna, slowly to recognize that there may be things to fix as man's time is coming to an end. So that is why we call this the gift of years. So it's a positive spin.
I would think you wouldn't have to do that for women.
Well, why is that?
Well, because women are much more in touch with
Right.
those things.
Right. So why would he do it for women?
And I'm sure they're not terribly happy about the fact that Abraham.
Right, Abraham. We have Abraham to thank for everything that we experienced. Yeah. So it's a blessing in disguise.
I mean, he done it for himself, but
Right.
Why do we have
Why do we have to?
Pull the makeup comes.
But just an important perspective that we know this is a reality of life, that people slowly slow down, people deteriorate. But there's a reason for that. There's a reason that God created the world that way, and this is just to put a positive, more of a positive spin on it.
So at the time before Noah, when people were living to 70,
Right,
100
so
years
they're-
old, did they die as old people, or did they? Were
So
they
it's-
700? They looked young.
It sounds like they look young. That's what it sounds like. That's what the Gemara seems to say. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing. There's another interesting Gemara. The reason we say God bless you, right? So by Avraham, also, by Yaakov. Sorry, it used to be that you would sneeze and you would die. There was no concept of getting sick. Being sick and remaining alive. You would get sick and you would die instantly. You would sneeze and die instantly. So nowadays, so the Gemara says that's why we say God bless you, because it used to be you sneeze and you would die. So we give a bracha that you should remain alive despite your sneeze. So just another interesting related Gemara. So we have this idea of people getting old, and it's something that Judaism places a lot of value in, both for the person who is getting old, as we have seen, a time to reflect, time to introspect, and to grow closer to those around you, your loved ones, but also in terms of everyone else around you, and the people around we'll see that the Torah demands a certain level of respect for people who are in their advanced years, and we have this mitzvah. Mipnei seva takum. This is source number 6. Mipnei seva takum v'hadarta penei zaken. You should rise before a seva. What is a seva? V'hadarta penei zaken. And you shall show. How to translate here? You shall show deference to the elderly, to the old. Penei zaken v'yareta me'alokecha ani Hashem. And you should have fear from. You should fear God. So the Gemara tries to understand what is a seva, what is a zaken. So the Gemara in source number 6 says that a seva is referring to. We could read the Gemara actually. So a seva is talking about an elderly person, it seems, and a zaken is actually may not be talking about a zaken, an old person. But the Gemara seems to say that a zaken is an acronym for Zeh Shekana Chachma, someone who has acquired wisdom. So the Gemara says that you could have someone who is relatively young, but he has amassed a lot of knowledge. He has become a great Torah scholar. But for him too, he is also called a zaken, and one would have to stand for him as well. But we also have this idea of standing for the seva. Even someone who is not a scholar, someone who has just achieved those years, seva being that he has white hairs on his head. So even for that, you have to stand for such a person. So we can read the Gemara together. So the Gemara says, Tanur Rabbanan, our rabbis taught, Mipnei seva takum, Yachol, I would think, Afilu Mipnei zaken ashmai. Maybe you should stand even for a zaken ashmai. There's a dispute what this zaken ashmai is. It doesn't sound so positive, but it either means a simple, someone who is not scholarly. Should I also stand for a simple person, someone who is not a Torah scholar? Talmud Lomar zaken. The pasuk of zaken right after that, the word of zaken right after it comes to teach me that no, this seva that I'm talking about is a scholarly person, is someone who has acquired knowledge. And that's what a zaken is referring to. However, Rabbi Yossi HaGlili says, Ein zaken. Oh, sorry, he's the same opinion. Ein zaken ela misha kana chachma. A zaken is someone who has acquired knowledge. And Amar Hashem kanani yirishit Yaakov. We have a proof from a pasuk. We have this word of kana with chachma. However, the end of the Gemara says, Isi ben Yehuda Omer. Isi ben Yehuda says, Mipnei seva takum, afilu kol seva b'mashma, any seva, whether you are a zaken or not, whether you have acquired chachma or not, there is a mitzvah to stand for the person who has achieved seva. And the Gemara continues and says that the halacha is like we follow the opinion of Isi ben Yehuda, no matter what, whether you are a scholar or not. That is, we have an obligation to stand for such a person. And not only standing, but showing standing is a sign of the feeling we are supposed to have, the reverence, the showing of respect for such people. There's a lot more that the Chachamim learned just from the wording of the pasuk. The V'yareita me'elokecha, that's just juxtaposed to that, but we find that those words in many different contexts. But here, V'yareita me'elokecha, I'll say, don't think you could close your eyes if you see an elderly person walking by. Don't close your eyes and pretend that you didn't see him. V'yareita me'elokecha, know that even though nobody else may have seen what just happened, but God is always watching. So reminding you to always stand, because God is always watching. Also, the hadarta pnei zakein, this idea of a kima, getting up, and a kima sheyesh ba hidur. The Gemara continues to say that a hidur is a recognizable form of showing respect. So meaning do it in a place that it would be recognizable. If you're in a disrespectful place, if you're in a bathroom, your bathhouse, or that's what Gemara says. So you're not obligated to do it in that situation. If he is where it is recognizable to the person, so if he's within your 4 amot, within around 6 feet of you, that is when you are supposed to stand up, but not when he is. Further away. But that's what Chazal learned from the wording of the pasuk of Kima sheyesh ba hidur. That has to have a hidur, a recognizable showing of respect. Okay, so how we can discuss now how old. So how old is such a person? How old is a seva? Any old person, does this apply to any person? Does it have to be a Jewish person? Should it be even a non-Jewish person who has achieved seva? Are we obligated to stand up for? So based on the Mishnah, so we said that seva is one achieves seva at 70 years old. So that's what it would seem. Someone who has achieved 70 years old, one should stand up for them. Does this apply to men and women? The Sefer Hasidim says this applies across the board to anyone, and seemingly we'll see the Gemara later that the I think we have the Gemara here, that one of the Amoraim stood even for non-Jewish, even for a non-Jewish zakein, even for someone who is non-Jewish before an Amrai. That's source number 12. So then there's a dissenting opinion there in the Gemara in source number 12 that says that you don't have to stand, but you still have to show respect. Either way, there is this concept of showing respect for elders. Why is that? What is the reason behind this mitzvah? So there is an interesting explanation given by Rav David Tzvi Hoffman, one of the great German scholars in the late 1800s. So he writes that he seems to say that this is just an extension of this. We're back to sorry, I was jumping around, but we'll follow the order. We're back in source number 8 on page number 3. He seems to write that this is an extension of this idea of kabed et avicha ve'et imacha. That just as we have an obligation to honor our parents, we also have an obligation to honor the parents of the nation. L'chabed et avot ha'uma kula. That people who have lived through a lot, who have acquired this experience, they have a certain sense of chachma, and they become people that you look up to, people who are able to offer advice. So those are the people that we are commanded to respect. So that is both the people who have acquired years and the people who have acquired chachma, even if they are not at that age. And then he says, "V'areitem elokecha," he explains, because that nature is that young people disrespect their elders. I told the story once of Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky on the airplane. He was sitting next to an Israeli politician, and he noticed how Rav Yaakov grandchildren were taking such great care of him, giving him all his food and everything that he needed. And so he asked Rabbi Yaakov, "Well, why is it that that they take such good care of you? Like, what did you do to deserve that?" And it's like, my children just left me there back in Blaine.
Because he
So
was in first class.
right. But Rabbi Yaakov's response. Right. Rabbi Yaakov's response was that for you, they think you teach them that you come from monkeys, so you're just you're a step closer to the monkey. Your society is developing, technology is developing, and they're more advanced than you. They know how to use the computers, they know how to do everything, and you don't. So that what's there to respect? But me, I'm a step closer to Har Sinai. I'm their source of wisdom. So that's why they give him respect. But that's the idea for all Zakinim, people who have acquired chachma through their life experience, are someone we should respect, even though nature is not to show respect to the elderly. The areitem el reminding the young people, no. We need an overemphasis of this mitzvah. Know who's watching, even though the old people may seem old and frail. You still have to give them respect. So that's one idea of honoring the avot ha'umah, as Rav David Tzvi Hoffman writes, honoring the parents, the elders of the generation. The Sefer Achinuch writes. Everyone says basically the same thing. They write so beautifully. Should we read in Hebrew, English? What do we prefer? If anyone wants to read, okay. I always prefer the Hebrew. I feel like the translation takes away from the poeticism of whatever is written. But either way, okay. The Sefer Achinuch is an amazing sefer. So he goes through all these 613 mitzvot. And he always gives the shoresh of the mitzvah. What is at the root of the mitzvah? What is the reason behind the mitzvah? So this is what he says with regard to this mitzvah. So he says, I'll read the Hebrew and translate. Ikar hayot ha'adam nivra ba'olam. This is source number 9. The reason man was created in this world, hu mifnei hachachma. The reason we were created is to acquire chachma. Kadei sheyakir bara. What's the purpose of chachma? In order to recognize, to become acquainted with our Creator. Al kain ra'ui livnei adam. Therefore, it is proper for people lechabei mi shehisigota. We should respect those who have achieved that, those who have achieved a level of chachma, because the purpose of chachma is to recognize Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Umitoch kach yitoreru achirim aleha, and through that you are able to inspire others to also gain that chachma. Umizeh hashorish pirish Isi ben Yehuda, and that is why Isi ben Yehuda said, "B'Gemara b'Kiddushin, she'afilu zakein ashmai." Even a simple zakein, even though he is not the greatest scholar, kolomar she'eino chacham, he is not a scholar. Hu b'chlal hamitzvah, even that person is included in this mitzvah. You are supposed to show respect to him. She'ra'u lekavdo, it is proper to show respect to such a person. Mipnei sheberov shanav, through all of his years, all of his life experience, ra'ah v'hikir k'tzat b'ma'aseh Hashem v'niflaotav. Through one's life experience, no doubt, he has experienced God in some way, and mitoch kach ra'ui lekavdo, simply through experiencing God throughout his life. V'hainu da'amar Rav Yochanan sham b'Kiddushin. This is what Rav Yochanan says. Halacha ki Isi ben Yehuda. We pass. That's the halacha. We follow Isi ben Yehuda, and then he goes on. The halacha actually is that if you know the person is a Rasha, so there's no mitzvah to stand for a Rasha. But other than a Rasha, we should respect anyone. So non-Jews. So we'll see. We could read the Gemara after. So we'll also see the Rambam, who says that this applies even, at least the kavod applies to a zaken kuti. That's the Rambam in source number 13, even to a non-Jew. Whether you're obligated to stand for them, maybe not, but definitely showing respect. That's what the Rambam says. We'll get there. continuing with Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch. So he, again, this talking about Seva and Zikna, it's all intertwined with the standing for a Talmid Chacham, for a scholar. And so Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch points out that there are two types of wisdom that we value as Jews. That it is not only Torah wisdom specifically. It's not only one who sat and learned Gemara all day, who we want to show value to, who we want to show respect to. Does anyone want to read our next verse? It's only in English. Does anyone want to read it? It was actually originally in German, but we have the English translation. Shaul?
I'll read it.
Okay, great.
Okay. He who honors Seva honors experience. He honors the natural human perception which matures through repeated events of life and nature. He who honors elders honors wisdom. He honors the understanding of life and nature that is obtained through God's word. For God's word reveals the divine source and purpose of life and nature. This lends significance to our mission. We must pay tribute to both, the clear and circumspect human intellect, which matures through experience, and the Spirit of God, which proceeds from the Torah. And whenever we find him, in the aged and in the wise, we have to show homage by honoring and rising.
So again, we have these two ideas. We have Chachma, but Chachma appears in many different forms. It's not only in the Torah. It's someone who has gained life experience, has tremendous Chachma to share, and we are obligated to show our respect for such a person.
And as you said, it's not only Torah, it's also experience.
Right, life experience. Right, exactly. Exactly. So less than a Rasha, so there's value to someone's life, someone's life experience. That person has what to give over to us, and we are to respect that. Exactly. So source number 11 is that Mishnah. So interestingly, there is the Onkelos is, he gave the Aramaic translation of the Torah. So he actually swapped. He says that the Zakein is referring to the older person, and the Seva in the pasuk is referring to the Talmid Chacham, referring to the Torah scholar. So if that were the case, then the halacha would actually switch. That we would have to stand for someone who is 60 years old, not someone who is 70 years old. And there are sources in the Zohar. Who say that that's what we should follow. However, the Shulchan Aruch paskins that we stand for 70. If there's ever a dispute between the Zohar and the Gemara, so we usually follow the Gemara. So that it seems that that's what the halacha would be. So the Gemara in source number 12.
That's what people stand up for the band and have called for the
Right. So in general, so it's interesting. The one time everyone fulfills this mitzvah is at a wedding. At weddings. Everyone. Right. So that's exactly the idea. That when the grandparents. What was that? Yeah.
He's saying only if you, let's say, within a few amos of the.
Right. So here it's clearly the spotlight's on them, and so I think that would be in fulfillment. Maybe technically you don't have to, but this is definitely, there are some people who will be within 4 amos of people walking down the aisle. But that's the one place where everyone fulfills the mitzvah when the grandparents walk in. When the Rebbeim walk in also,
so
exactly.
It's about their knowledge, not about age.
Right, exactly. Right, it's Torah stuff. Right. So people stand for it's a more recent phenomenon that this is
standing for
happening.
the rabbi.
People, what was that?
They were standing for the rabbi.
Standing for the rabbi. So that has been. I'm saying at weddings specifically. It's very recent. Everyone. It's the one time that I think many people are Mekayim this mitzvah, but we're not generally aware of it any other time. If you go to Israel on the buses, so there are signs in Israel. Did you go on any buses? Yeah. So there are signs on the buses that say Mipnei Sevat Takum. So that's talking about giving your seat up to an elderly person. So maybe people fulfill the mitzvah then when there are no seats left, but to actually stand up when someone walks into the room. So we don't. We seem to not do that so often. The Aruch HaShulchan discusses, and he noticed that if people just aren't doing that. He said it could be that people are allowed to be mochel on their kavod. You're allowed to forgive. People just don't demand the respect. So it could be that that's what we rely on, and we hope people are mochel on their kavod. But whether or not we stand, again, at least we should. The standing is supposed to show us how we're supposed to feel. The respect we are supposed to give to them, whether we stand or not. So just continuing on, the Gemara in source number 12 quotes Rav Yochanan. So Rav Yochanan hava kai mikame save da'armai. So he used to stand even for an Aramean, even a non-Jewish elderly person. Amar kama harpatke adu alayu. How many experiences did he have? So that is why I'm standing for him. I value his life experience. And the Rambam in source number 13, Maimonides, so he says, even for you can read it, Amisha who's a king muflag, someone who is very old, bezigna, af al pi she'ino chacham, even though he's not a chacham, omdin lefanav, we stand before him. Afilu ha-chacham shehu yeled, even, and the opposite, even if he's a chacham who is young, omeid b'fnei hazakein hamuflag. If someone who is a young scholar should still stand before an elderly person. Ve'eino chayav la'amod melokomato. You don't have to stand up the whole way. Ella kedei lehadro. Again, just a sign, a recognizable thing that you are doing. Afilu zakein kuti, and even a non-Jewish zakein. Mahadrin oto b'dvarim. You should honor him with words. Notnin lo yad v'samcho. Help him down the street, help the old lady cross the street. Shneimar mipnei seva takum kol seva b'mashma. Any seva, whether you are a chacham or not, this applies again to anyone. As a side point, so there is also this idea of standing for Talmidei Chachamim, even if they are not at that age. There's a story told of Rav Moshe Feinstein, who at the age of 11 he had already memorized Bava Kama, Bava Metzia, and Bava Basra, 3 Masechtas in Shas. And his father was in a meeting with some of the big rabbanim at the time, and Moshe walked in. He's 11 years old, and they stood up for him. They stood up for Moshe. So even standing for Talmud Chacham, and his father got upset. He said, "No, it's gonna get to his head."
Yes.
So for that.
You see, last weekend, she knows about that 19-year-old boy.
Oh yeah, he memorized all of Shas.
All the portion and all
Yeah.
that about that.
Amazing.
And I said it in the scene.
Unbelievable.
You memorized it by heart.
Yeah. It was tested
Amazing.
and his Rebbe gave him as a gift. He was so impressed. He gave him a bottle of wine.
That's great. It's unbelievable. It's really an unbelievable thing. Yeah. So we already discussed a little bit. We went out of order just on the questions and conversations. So we discussed the age in which this applies. What if you're not sure? You're not sure if someone has. Do you go asking them like, "Can I see your ID?" Do you? Are you supposed to ask? Do you?
Someone could be insulted.
Right. So So do we want? What if someone? If people don't like thinking that they are getting old. So that is the question. So Rav Ovadia Yosef writes in Eight Shuvah. So he discusses the age. He says we follow the Talmud Bavli. The age is 70 years old. He says if you are ever in doubt, you don't know if someone is 70 or not. So he says the rule is always, this is a mitzvah min haTorah. This is a Torah mitzvah, so safek d'oraita l'chumra. You always have to be stringent if you're ever in doubt as to whether or not to fulfill a mitzvah from the Torah. Just like if you're not sure if you benched or not, if you're not sure if you said Birkat Hamazon. So it's the one bracha, one of 2 brachot that you have to go back if you're not sure, because it's a mitzvah min haTorah. So you're not sure, you have to do it. So what about what if you think they'll be insulted? So obviously, the whole point is to give them kavod, and if you think that they're going to be insulted by standing up for them, so then the proper thing to do would to not stand up for them. So this was a question asked. There's a Ask the Rabbi, and Eretz Chemda has Ask the Rabbi, their email. The one who responds is actually one of my rebbeim in Grus, the Grus Kollel in Yerushalayim. So Neil Mann. So he wrote a whole article about this. He gets a lot of interesting questions, and every week he'll expand on one question that he gets. So this was one of his questions. So he responds, certainly we do not want to insult someone who we are trying to honor. If one really wants to do the mishpah well, we suggest developing a style of standing up and approaching older people or anyone to greet them in a natural manner that does not scream, I'm rising in your honor, because you are elderly and it is a mitzvah. Right? So you're not like making a bracha in front of them. It's like I'm about to fulfill the mitzvah of standing for the elderly. No. So either do it in a way that is discreet, that shows that you care for them and that you are showing your respect, or if you think they'll notice and won't be insulted, so then just don't do it.
What if you're elderly yourself?
Oh,
You stand
so
before
do
friends
the
who's
elderly.
elderly?
That's an interesting question. I haven't seen anything written about it specifically. That doesn't exist.
Like two old men make stand
Right?
for each
Do they
other.
stand for each other? It's an interesting question.
I think so.
Right?
Why not?
Two Talmidei Chachamim, they would stand for each other. I think, right? So, I guess, yeah, it's interesting. But we don't.
So this is- that was the guy.
Right.
And our Rav of the shul, who happens to be, like a great nephew, my mother, who was in his 30s, and my father would stand up when he came into work, because he was dead.
Right.
Ready to show it.
And he was in his 90s, and the man was in his 30s, but he was like 3 times
Yeah.
his age.
Well, yeah, amazing. Yeah, I mean, we don't see this. It's really, it's not done, I guess. In a way, it's unfortunate. But at least just to feel it, even if we're the rain here, but we don't see it with.
Like, I grew up, like, being taught if an older person is standing, give them the seat.
Right. So give them your seat. I think that's obvious. I think everyone knows that. I mean, we
Not
should
that
be
everyone
careful.
does it.
Right. So this is more than that. This is more than just giving them your seat.
Just getting-
This is just standing up.
Right.
Right.
Let me ask a related question. When I was a kid, my parents always said you address older people as Mr. or Mrs.
Right.
Today, kids don't
People,
call older
yeah.
people, they call them by their first name.
Right.
Does that tie into this at all? Is that,
So yeah, I mean, there's generally this. So right, there is an idea of giving respect to people who are older than you. Yeah, I think it's a terrible thing, and we're very careful with our kids. We call everyone, even it's strange with our own friends to call them Mr. and Doctor and.
Mhm.
Right, but the friends don't want to be called.
Right, they want to be called that, but I mean, it's less for them and more for our kids. I mean, they should,
Mhm.
with the time.
like,
people-
I'll call my parents, my in-laws friends by their first name because that's all I was told to do. But is that violating this respect issue?
So if they are, so they could be, right, so it could be their mohel, in which case it's not, and if they're not mohel, so then again, I guess that is.
What do you mean by what?
I mean,
They're
if they're not,
Yeah, because they say
they don't
no,
demand
only
that.
Marshall.
right, so they're allowed, you're allowed to be mohel on, the one, there's one person, who's not allowed to forgive his kavod, and that even a Talmid Chacham is allowed to forgive kavod. You can say, don't stand up for me. Whether that's advisable or, I mean, it depends on the situation. There are people who say, parents are allowed to be mochel on kavod, they're allowed to forgive, it's also mitzvah to stand for your parents when they walk into them. You should be mochel on that, or you could say, oh, you would stand up, you just, it's more for the kids than for the parent. Just to create it's a opportunity to show that they're
Which kind of you can't.
so. So a king is not allowed to be mochel on his kavod because it's not his kavod; it's the kavod of Hashem. That's right. But a Talmid Chacham is interesting. Why? It's because of the Torah that he learned. But the Gemara has it's Torah Torah Yehageh. That's what the pasuk says. It's his Torah. He has acquired something that becomes his own. So that's why he's allowed to be mochel even on his own kavod. Again, it depends on the situation. So I assume most people are mochel on their kavod. They'll forgive people who don't, or just don't care whether people stand up for them or not. So I guess that's what we would rely on nowadays. Yeah, did that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay. So again, it's definitely important to teach our children to give reverence to people who are older than them, calling people by their not by their first name. Definitely, it's gone away with the time. It's not so popular anymore.
And I don't think it's not considered disrespectful.
Right,
You
it's
know,
not considered.
when-
So that comes along.
When I grew up in South Africa, you would call everybody uncle and auntie.
Really?
But they were not about the uncle and
Right.
I think it's an English they should be.
When I was growing up, it was always Mr.
My
and
parents
Mrs.
are all Mr. and Mrs.
Right.
But now, if I said Mr. to so-and-so, they say, you kidding?
Yeah, you can.
I
Call
still
them
call my
Ted.
parents that Mr. and Mrs. because I can't bring myself to call them.
Right.
But they say, are you kidding me? They tell you to call them by the first.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's more for the person giving the kavod than for the person himself. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so that's a little bit about standing up. So again, the idea of engendering a sense of kavod within ourselves, appreciating that the experience of the chachma that people who have achieved that have achieved, and we should that demands respect, and we should give them the proper respect again in a respectful manner. So don't insult anyone as you are doing it. If you're ever unsure, so do it wisely. That's a little bit about that. So that's the honoring elders in general, and then we have this idea also, a ton to speak about honoring one's own parents. So obviously, yes, there is an idea of honoring other people, but one of the 10 Commandments is honor your own parents, and that becomes especially relevant. So as you're growing up, it's probably much harder. Or I guess it's always hard for a young person growing up to recognize what that means and how to do that properly. As I'll say, this is one of the hardest mitzvot to fulfill. But becomes especially relevant as parents get older and they need people to actually care for them. And that's what the Gemara says. We have two mitzvot related to parents. We have kabedet anicha v'timecha, to honor your parents, and we have ish imo v'aviv tiro, and we have this idea of having fear of your parents. And kavod, the idea of kavod is the positive things that one is supposed to do for them. So the Gemara says in Kiddushin, verse number 17, Ezehu morah ve'ezehu kavod. So what is morah and what is kavod? Morah lo omedim kamo, not to stand in this place. Lo yoshevim kamo, not to sit in your father's or mother's place. Below soteret morah, not to contradict your father. Below machrio, and don't if an argument, don't say who is right. Don't choose a side. And kibud, what is kavod? Ma'achil u'mashket, to provide food and drink, malbish u'mechaseh, to dress and cover, machnis u'motzi, and to escort him, to be his chauffeur, take him to his doctor's appointment, and whatever he may need. So the Gemara, there's a lot to discuss. So the Gemara technically says that so there's a lot that one actually needs to do. There are also a lot of expenses that come along with providing for your parents. So who's obligated to pay for all this? Are we obligated to pay out of pocket for respecting our parents, for providing for them? So technically, the Gemara says, this is technically, the mitzvah of kavod is mishal av, that it's supposed to be from their own finances, from their own money, that you were technically one shouldn't take a loss. However, we have this idea of, we'll read the Shulchan Aruch, this is source number 18, that which we are obligated to provide food and drink, mishal av ve'im, so it's supposed to come from the father's and mother's money, in yeshlo. So that's if the father has. But if the father does not have any money and the son does have, kofinoto. So we force the son to pay for the expenses that are required to care for his father. And you have to give food, you have to provide for the father based according to what you are able to do. And if the son doesn't have, so you don't have to don't become poor. Don't go begging on the streets in order to provide. But you have to do as much as you can. Aval, and then it continues. Aval chayav lechabdo begufo. But you still have this idea of being there in person. batel min lachto, even if this will mean not working, even if this will mean quitting your job or ending your job, even if you will have to become poor because of that. The dafka, then he says, the dafka the idla ben mizonot leitzaneh hu yoma. That's only if the son knows that he himself is going to have his own food. If you don't have, if you're not going to have food for himself going forward, lo mechayev l'matel. So again, every circumstance is different. Don't make yourself poor through providing for a parent if you're not going to have enough to provide for yourself afterwards. But just the point of this is to show the tremendous obligation there is and how much Chazal put into this mitzvah. It's different than any other mitzvah. Technically, one is not supposed to spend more than a fifth of his money to fulfill any mitzvah, any positive commandment. If there's no esrog in town, and the only esrog will cost you a fifth of your money, so you don't have to spend more than a fifth in order to fulfill the mitzvah. But this is different. This you have to basically you have to go all out. And the idea being, there's a discussion of what is behind this mitzvah. So there is this idea of hakara hatov, number one, recognizing that which your parents have given to you, you owe them so much. But also there's this purely halachic idea based on Yerushalmi that some of the sources say that you're paying back for that which your parents have provided for you. You owe them a monetary amount. It's hard to put a monetary amount on that, so that's why it's not limited to that 1/5 that you are generally obligated to spend on a mitzvah. I mean, it's so much greater. Just think of all the time, money, and resources that your parents spent on you, so you are obligated to give that back to them. Just going into it a little more, that it's not just about the money, it's not just about the time, but it's about the feeling that one has, the manner in which one does provide for the parents. We could getting late. So source number 19 tells a story about how you could provide the fanciest meat for your parents and be removed from the world to come, and you can make your father work backbreaking work. And still you will still come to the world to come. They tell a story that it's all about the attitude that someone had provided it. That's what someone did. He said, "Yeah." The father said, "Where did you get this wonderful meat from?" And he said, "Just sit and be quiet, like the animal." That's what he said to him. And another person, he made his father do backbreaking work for his food, but the person was doing other work, saving him from embarrassment in another situation. But it's all about the manner in which you provide for your parents. The source number 20 is just a great story. The Brisker Rav, someone came to ask the Brisker Rav, he said he wanted to go visit his parents, but the train ticket costs a lot of money. He was in Warsaw, he had to go far away, take the train. So it's supposed to be Mishal Av. It's supposed to be my parents can't afford it. They can't afford to pay for the ticket. So maybe I'll just stay here. And so the Brisker Rav told him, he said, "Okay, so walk. Like you have to go. So whether you're gonna go by train, you have to be there. So figure out how you're gonna be there. Whether you're gonna walk or take the train, it's not a matter of the expenses involved. You have to be." And then finally, the last source is just, I didn't provide the translation, but it's an interesting question about a convert. Is a convert obligated in honoring their parents? Halachically, a convert is viewed as not having any halachic parents. When you convert, you are katan shenoladam. You are a new creation. You have no connection to your past. Technically, on a Torah level, you're allowed to marry your siblings if they convert too, because you're not viewed as being related to them. People say that. That's a good idea, but from what is that?
That's kind of freaky.
Yeah, but from a truly halachic point of view, there's no connection. There's no halachic connection. So is a convert obligated to honor their parents? And so Moshe Feinstein has a tshuva to someone who was asking, do I have to go back to my parents? And we said that part of the mitzvah is not the first line. "Lachein nira l'fiani adaiti dehu be'inyan isur kafui tova." There is an isur in the Torah. There is a prohibition to be kafui tova, to not appreciate that which one has given to you. So whether your parents are Jewish or not, you have to recognize how much they have given to you. So that is the essence of this mitzvah. So even a convert, even though they're not technically halachically related to their parents anymore, they're a new creation. No, we have to show our gratitude. That is what is behind this mitzvah, and that is a little bit about providing for the elderly. Wish everyone a wonderful
But you don't
night.
say Shabbat for them, right?
Right.
They're not-
If they're not Jewish, you would not